got that. And then
Fantastico.
I'm also make you co-host, and I think that should give you access to
sharing abilities.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to record and we're going to go live.
Okay.
All right, so are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, I'm recording on my end now, and then I'm going to immediately go live.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Soulful Sessions, a cosmic chat with Madelaine and myself. So hang tight for 1 second while we get ourselves organized here. And that way I can see everyone in the chat and we can see your messages. This is going to be great. This is a big I think we say this every time. At least I do, maybe. This is a big new moon in terms of the energy being the first new moon of this astrological new year. I was doing a little research on this, and this is also happening right around the time of a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces, which only happens every 167 years. So there is a lot of very vibrant new beginnings, vital energy that is going to be at play around the time of this new moon. So it's really kind of cool if you think about it in those terms. The hope and the promise, especially with all that we've been enduring for so long, to have that shift and that change with this new moon energy. So okay, I think we have everything set and ready to go. I've got the chat open, so if anyone's out there tuning in right now, please drop us a hello, ask us questions. Let us know where you're from. You know, we're going to do what we do. We're going to share a little bit about the energies. Madelaine's going to go through all 12 of the zodiac signs, give us a flavor of what this new moon cycle has to come. And before we really take a deep dive into it, Madelaine, I think you were going to open with a little chime today.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
A little bit of a sound rebalancing. This is from Nepal. It's kind of like a singing bowl, but it's a singing bell. And I'm going to go ahead and give us some sound therapy to relax and calm us and center our energies. Taking deep breaths in and exhale. And exhale. All right, there we go, a little sound therapy.
Yeah, I don't think we got the full spectrum of it because
No?
it was
Loud
like we could hear a little cling and like a little bit of that, but yeah, we'll have to see about
practice again and get it louder.
Yeah.
Let's try one more time. I'm just going to see if it's loud.
Okay. It's almost like the microphone, like it picks it up and then it shuts it off.
I see what you're saying. Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, that doesn't work well.
Well, that was, you know what, we made the A+ effort, as we always do. So, all right. So Madelaine, just a couple things.
Sure.
Before we get started, you know, and I'm sure you're going to be talking about this, and this will be a big topic of this new moon conversation that we have. A lot of what I'm feeling right now leading up to the new moon, which is, I believe, 2:24 a.m. Eastern. So for those of us on the East Coast in the United States, it's going to be tomorrow at 2:24 a.m.
Okay.
For those like yourself on the West Coast or on, Pacific time, it's going to be at 11:24
Isn't that
p.m.
crazy?
Yeah.
It's like where I am, it actually says 11:11. And the sun is going to be at 11 degrees Aries, and the moon is going to be at 11 degrees Aries. Mercury is going to be at, actually, I think Mercury is not quite at 11, but I mean, it's 11, 11,
Close.
11, 11, 11, 11, all over.
Wow. So that's a big portal
Yep.
energy,
It is.
walking through into a new way of being. So, with Aries, it's really, it's ruled by Mars. It's very fast. It's very go. It's warrior. It's like very, very action oriented. However, kind of what I've been hearing, feeling, and learning is that with this energy, the best course of action is to slow down and then to move at your own pace. So, we also have all these planets, all planets moving direct until Pluto goes retrograde towards the end of the month, I believe. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of this forward momentum energy, which is great, take advantage of that. But I guess what I'm saying is don't necessarily be in a rush. Don't feel like you have to get from here to there this second, like immediately. Like, you take your time, wait for information to come in, wait till your thoughts and your inspiration align with your inner guidance and compass. That's always, but particularly now, being able to just slow down and wait for that direction or guidance, I think it would be a prudent move.
Yes.
Always. What are your thoughts? Same?
Well, interestingly enough, I don't feel if I don't know if I should share the screen, but we're going to have a stellium in Aries. So we've got a bunch of planets in Aries, and then we've got a bunch of planets in Aquarius, which is Saturn, Aquarius is very electrical energy. So it's like, are they, and I don't think they're squaring, but the nodes are being squared by this new moon. So, and the nodes often are fate, are karmic. So then we've got Chiron in. I don't know if to get into it yet, but the energies are definitely adjusting our ways. So it may not necessarily play out like in action energy, although that's building for sure as this month is going on, because we're definitely in Aries season. But in a way, there's almost sort of like a repression, because that Saturn is sort of holding us back a little bit, making us do it the right way. So it could be frustrating for people because there'll be blocks if you're not putting your Aries energy in the right way because of the squares going on, which I'll get into in a minute. But
maybe share your screen, because I think it is kind of cool to show how all of there's like all the planets are really close together.
Yeah,
they're all hanging out together, which is, look at that.
Yeah,
that is just,
and look
to
at
me,
2 stelliums right here. Stellium in Aries, 4 planets in Aries, and then we've got 4 planets in Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is in Aquarius. So it's almost like there's going to be adjustments made that because also, not to mention, you see here, look, there's the sun and the moon and Mercury all together. Mercury and Zemi. And then there's the nodes. The nodes actually are squaring Saturn, not the new moon. So the nodes are squaring Saturn, this stellium. And the nodes are about, your Saturn is for the long haul, for the long term, for the committed in your career. And it's like, you're going to be tested to adjust to where it is the right way to go. So you're going to, the North Node is going to square you, which means it's going to, if you're going the wrong way, you're going to get forced through, and you're going to get, because this is going to be a committed thing. So you're going to change direction and commit. And I was doing a bunch of reads on people yesterday, and it was like, they were all kind of getting the same message, which was, you're going to start, an opportunity is coming in because this is a new moon. It's the new astrological year that's going to tilt you and send you the right way. And it's not going to be necessarily the kind of work that you were doing before. Like I was doing a read for one guy, and his career, like an opportunity is coming in on his work. That's more spiritual, that's more soulfully connected, but it's not quite what he was doing. but he's still looking for work in the way that he was doing it. So it's like he's going to have an adjustment, but it's going to be better for him because it's going to last the long term. Saturn is all about is a 29-year cycle. It's aligning you with the right thing that you're going to commit to that is right, that will last.
You know, another perspective on this too, you know, also, you know, in addition to what you're saying is the fact that Saturn is the planet of karma, and the North Node has to do with purpose and your the higher expression, which you're here to step into. So this could be a prime opportunity for you to complete a karmic relationship, complete a karmic agreement, and finally step or rise into or move ever closer to your purpose.
Yes.
And that can also be on an individual level, a collective level. You know, it's a really, to me, it seems like a really powerful opportunity.
Yes. And I do think that the Aries energy is that all that stellium in Aries is going to go behind the new, it's going to make you busy and go behind the new adjustment. You know, that's a new beginning. It's a new initiation because Aries, as you were saying, is initiating energy. So it's like the fire now is going to get motivated. You're going to get inspired about this new direction. It's going to be exciting. You're going to want to do it. Aries is a selfish energy. You want to do it. It's your desires. It's what you truly desire. So it's going to like, it's things are feeling static and slow. It's kind of because Pisces energy is kind of slower. So we're moving into the Aries energy where it's like things are a little bit, I don't want to say boring, but like feels like nothing's happening. And now all of a sudden things are going to suddenly feel like they're all for the entire month. Because like you say, you know, what happens in a new moon is the fingerprint for the month. It's a solar return.
It's exciting. All right. So do you want to, let's maybe stop sharing the screen, come back to us, and then we'll dive into the
12 signs.
12 signs. Yeah.
All right, I will do that right now. So Aries in your first house, Aries in your first house, you're going to have Aquarius is in your 11th house. So new beginnings, you're going to find a new idea, a new way to approach a new, more in alignment way to be on social media, to take your mission on social media, because your purpose being in Taurus with the North Node there. By the way, wherever the North Node is in your chart, wherever Taurus covers your chart, you're going to be financially liberated that way. So for Aries, it's in the second house of financing. So there's going to be an adjustment or a tilt in the way that you are on social media that increases or with your friends groups or tribes, or you start a new friends group that increases your financial income because you have Taurus in your second house. So it's a whole new identity because it's in your first house. So Aries are going to completely change their whole perspective all the way around because they've been out of alignment somehow. And then they're going to go into Aquarius energy, which is social media. They're going to shift the way they are out in the world, in front of people. And it's going to involve their career because it squares your second house there with Taurus, which is where the nodes are. So it's going to tilt the way that you make money. You're going to make money in a new way, or it's going to adjust the way you're making money. There's going to be an adjustment there, and you're going to put more inspired energy into this making money opportunity that is going to liberate you.
I'm sure any Aries listening to that is like, yes, all right.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
bring it on.
And again, you know, there might be a square to the way that so in other words, a square is usually it's Aries energy square. So it's like you're going a different way now. So it's like energy goes into a frustration or some kind of a crisis can always happen in a new moon, but something shows up that makes you have to tilt or makes you know you need to tilt and pivot and go the other way. But the clarity will be there too, because there's an inspiration and an idea coming in with that new moon or an opportunity. New moons bring opportunities too. So
nice.
That's Aries. I'm feeling remarkably calm for these Aries energy. I don't know why that is. I think it might be the calm before the storm.
That's so funny. Well, so it's interesting. Like when Madelaine and I got on, I was feeling very calm. And then when our energy connected in, I was feeling something was stirred. And I think as we were sharing and talking, I think we both just like, ooh,
Came into it. Yeah.
yeah, just brought it down, which is
Yeah.
great. It's really lovely. I would assume anyone out that's watching, let us know what your thoughts and feelings are for the energy that between us in this space, Madelaine, and that we share out with everyone to bring that sort of calmness to this fiery energy and this, and then with the Aquarian influence that you talked about earlier, that's a lot of this, all of this here. So I think it's beautiful. Yay.
I feel really strange because I have it going on in my chart. I have it squaring because I have Mars squaring the nodes right on my Saturn. So I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? But I wonder if these strong squares to the Aries energy, it's not squaring the Aries energy, but I almost wonder if that square sometimes counteracts everything too and makes it, not happen sometimes. Some people think squares are a Saturnian energy. So,
all right. Well, you'll have to report back to us.
Yes, I will.
Next live
time. Yep. So Taurus, let's see, you guys are having Aries in your 12th house. I have a friend who's Taurus arising, and we were wondering how it would be with Aries in the 12th house. So, you've got the nodes in your first house. So that means you really are going through a pivot you're having a nodal return on your ascendant. So you're going through a whole new cycle of 18 years, because the nodes are an 18-year cycle, where you really are going to redefine your purpose, your calling. You're going to completely change the way that you have been or what your path has been, because you're going to sort of wake up to a more honest truth version of who you really are and what you're here to really do and what your true purpose is. So in the end of this, it's an 18-month transit in your first house. By the end of that 18 months, and we're about 4 months in on the transit because it happened in January, by the end of that 18-month transit, you're probably doing something completely different in your career. You'll probably be on a whole new path with your work. So you're going to be starting to see that in this new moon in Aries, which is in your 12th house, which is a very inward, introspective energy. You're going to find in a downtime, in a be in the river and let the thing come to you, ideas and motivations and clarity about what that new major pivot is. And you'll probably get very motivated and excited to do it as soon as the Aries energy comes into your first house. Taurus, when the sun goes into your first house in Taurus, you'll probably be out of that. So that would be mid-month. It will be go time, but maybe before that, you're starting to get the clarity of what that is. And with all the Aquarian energy in your 10th house, again, this is going to be your career. And your career for Taurans, usually your MC is going to be in Aquarius, most Taurans. So you're really looking at pivoting the way that you are on social media, your message, your calling is going to start word of mouth. The opportunities are coming in through word of mouth or through social groups or through networking on social media that inspires you to really have clarity and to take action around this new path that will financially liberate you. Because I've forgotten to mention that we have Uranus in Taurus. So at the end of this 8-year cycle of Uranus, which went in May 2018, is financial liberating. So you will have financial liberation in 5 years, but in about 18 months, you're going to see it very steadily heading that way. Does that make sense?
I think so. So let me just see if I can do a quick recap. And
yeah.
So essentially, kind of what I'm picking up on just from these two signs is that for everyone, there's going to be some sort of a pivot occurring. Okay. Yes. So
we have the North Node squaring Saturn.
Okay.
And that's like go.
That pivot energy. So for Taurus, it's about redefining your purpose or calling, clarifying your message that you're giving to your audience, whether that's on social media or wherever that happens.
Or clarifying your purpose, like you understand better what your purpose is. Like, let's say you're in medicine and you're doing holistic medicine. Now you're going to shift to focus more on a spiritual aspect of it. And you're going to go on social media and you're going to display more of a spiritual truth behind health.
Okay.
Because the nodes being in Taurus, we're going into a whole new health paradigm for the next 18 months, 16 months. We're going into the whole world is going to be much more focused on health. So if you're in the health field and you go natural and you go grassroots and you do all that, you're going to really see a financial boom for yourself, independence, financial independence that way. And so Taurans are going to see they're going to readjust their message to it being more holistic, more healthy, if that's the field. Most Taurans have that kind of background.
Right.
So yeah, so you're going to get a better clarity on what your message is, like you were saying, but your purpose, you're going to have an adjustment to it. And then you're going to be more motivated. It's going to be very clear, and opportunities are going to open up that shall we say, verifies that supports that pivot.
Okay. So then,
Okay.
so basically Taurans will know when
Yes.
it happens. You know,
Probably.
it'll be fairly clear.
Yes, by the middle of the month, by April 20th, which is crazy astrology that day, which, you know, talk about that too. But, you know, that's another one. That's like the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. And we have the Jupiter-Venus conjunction at the end of the month. So that's going to be very powerful. We can talk about that next time, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be amazing. You know,
Yeah. But we
bring that
do
into
have the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction about on the 12th of this month. So that's all.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
So
going
let's maybe talk about that a little bit towards the end after we go through the signs for anyone who wants to hang out a little longer.
I think the Saturn square Neptune has a lot to do with the Pisces Jupiter Neptune conjunction, because I think there's going to be big spiritual awakenings happening that tilt people at a part of what makes you tilt. Okay. Yeah. But I think this new moon in Aries is the opportunities coming in that wake some of us up to the better way to go. That's more inspiring, more us, more desiring fulfillment, because it's Aries energy. It's what motivates us. There's like a connection to how we'll be motivated. Okay.
All right.
Gemini. We have Aries in your 11th house. We have Aquarius in your 9th house. And we have Taurus in, wow, interesting, in your 12th house. So Gemini are going to probably get involved with new friends group, because Aries being in that 11th house, there's brand new initiations to new relationships, new friendships, new groups of people that are very exciting for you to meet. You're going to be very motivated to meet these new people. They're going to be a part of this new journey for you, this new destiny. So whatever like friends groups you're starting to meet, or you might let go, don't forget, wherever there's new, there's going to be release. So you may release a friends group, and then you step into a new connection with new friends groups that inspires you, that involves possibly travel, because Aquarius is in travel, or cultural differences. And then we have Taurus in your 12th house. The nodes are, so you're kind of going through a long, slow reevaluation as to your, because you've got the nodes in your 12th house. So you're really making a long sort of, because Taurus is grounding things, making them in earth, making it happen. Some Gemini might find themselves in retreat mode, out in the wilderness or away from the mainstream, or you can make money that way, because Taurus is also helping you make money. But so in other words, you're going to be really like a new friends groups, possible travel that involves money that you make from outside institutions. So let me pull all that together. So for an example, you may wake up to making money in a way that's more soulfully connected, more spirit. And Gemini, I've been going through this a lot. That involves, but again, the 9th house is spiritual beliefs. So you may have a new belief that shifts the way you earn money. You're going to be financially independent in a way that's possibly also you don't have to work, that liberates you, because also Uranus is going to liberate you. So it's possible you can travel with you work. This is really good news, because I'm on the cusp of Gemini. So I get this. So in other words, opportunities coming up that help you travel or go to country or go into remote places to earn money, because you can work online, and you have a new spiritual awakening to the importance of what you do spiritually.
So let me ask you a question for those. I have someone in mind for this question. Yeah. What if someone is not necessarily very spiritually oriented? Yeah. They're skeptical. They're, they'd like something to change in their life, but they're not necessarily ready to embrace this way of being. They're very locked into the, I have to do it. Yes.
This would be a transit that pulls Gemini less into matrix mentality and more into being out of the matrix, more online, because the 11th house being Aries, more motivated to work online, not necessarily working in their local environment, but being able to travel, 9th house. But also you're right, a spiritual shift can be simply doing what's more of your soul calling. Which is less matrix, which is less security-based choices, which is more choices on what liberates me, what makes me feel happy, what because the 11th house with Aries is a selfish energy, like what pleases me, people. So it's like, instead of working to please the world, you're going to shift to the world pleasing you, and what you do, actions that motivate you, that inspire you, that reignite you. So it's like you'll feel reignited about your work career because you can open things up and travel and go online. But again, you may connect with some kind of a work thing on the internet, like you may connect with another website that then exposes you to other clients, which enables you to travel, which would be great, which is actually what I want to do, because I want to travel the world and work from my laptop. And I'm Gemini in Vedic, and I'm also a Gemini in the on the border here. So nice. Geminis are going to see a liberation because the Aquarian energy is liberating. So and it could involve travel, but also yoga is spiritual. You could decide you want to go on yoga retreats and work online at the same time, and be in a yoga retreat somewhere out in the country, and tap into your customers through the internet, because you've got a new customer tribe group, Aries, 11th house. You can work that way.
Yeah. Which would be really cool.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing that too. Things are opening up. It's awesome.
Oh, I know.
I know. I love it. So Cancer. So you're going to have Aries in your 10th house. This is career. This whole thing is happening right on my Jupiter as well. I forgot to mention. So I'm definitely, this is why I feel really strangely calm, because usually I'm like, okay, what's going to happen?
Waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, because I've got this new moon right on my Jupiter, because my Jupiter is at 10 degrees Aries. So MC is in Pisces, but anyway, very close together. So 10th house, Aries for Cancer, new career pivots, new career actions, motivations, ideas, clarity that takes your career forward. You'll be inspired. You'll be a new beginning in your career in some way. 10th house, you may get new notoriety, more known. New moons in the 10th house is status as well. So new beginning, new connections that give you more notoriety. But also it's sort of an upgrade in your work. It's sort of like a pay rise, a promotion. Now, Taurus is in your 11th house, which is where the nodes are for you, Cancer, which means you're going to be in a new tribe group, friends happening that are part of this liberation, because you're going to meet new people and develop new groups of friends that possibly are connected to this career upgrade. And then you've got Aquarius in your 8th house of financing. It could put you out of debt if you're in debt. 8th house is debt. Or you could find you get funding, because now the nodes are squaring your 8th house, the 11th house. You're going to maybe a connection in the 11th house can help you career unblock some kind of financial blockages for you. Now, I'm not going relationship, but also that's a house of passionate sex. And, so Aries in the 10th house, 11th house, you could meet somebody through the internet or through social groups that you then become in a passionate sexual activated relationship, because Aries is very sexual energy. Don't forget to mix that in on all of this.
Just add a little spice.
Yeah,
and fire to the
quite
mix.
the most sort of, shall we say, sexually robust of the energies. So, you could end up in a relationship with someone all of a sudden, and it becomes very sexually, very passionate, very fast, or could be a reconciliation. But it squares your nodes. So it's going to tilt your direction. Let's say you get in a relationship and it tilts your direction. You have more clarity on your true purpose. And you then you may get to quit an area of working or the way you've been working through something like one group online, you may like, for instance, you could be working through a website and then you no longer do that website because you have another bigger opportunity somewhere else that's going to make you busier. But again, it might tilt a little bit the way that you've been working. There's going to be a shift somehow. Like for instance, if you're Cancer, you have been working mostly online. Now maybe you're going to be working with groups of people in real flesh. In flesh. Can't believe I said that.
Versus fake flesh.
It's very fleshy time for the Cancer. So yeah, so that's for Cancer. Let me just take a quick look now. I can't forget that we've got Mercury in on all of this. I keep forgetting to add Mercury and Chiron. Don't forget, we've got Mercury and Chiron on the new moon and this moon. So there might be wounding or triggering involved in all of this that tilts our directions. Okay, that's just going straight across the board for everybody. Okay.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that the Chiron in particular, and that's the thing, every planet is involved right now because they're all clustered together.
Soup.
Yeah. So it's just kind of everyone, whatever happens right now, it's like there's going to be some sort of planetary action that's
the whole Will Smith thing is really clearly this exact thing, because there was the Mars energy, the aggression of the square that he didn't communicate because Mercury's in Cazimi right now in the sun, which means communications are challenging right now. Right. That was an action that's probably going to tilt the way they do the Oscars from now on, or it's going to change things, that whole thing. Yeah. And his wounding was triggered. So it's like, that's going to happen to all of us in some way. Our wounding will be triggered. You might feel like lashing out or, getting angry or frustrated at people, but your wounding is going to get shook because that's what's going to make you change your direction.
Well, what's interesting too about this, now that you're saying that, this pivoted Chris Rock. Now, from what I've been hearing anyway, he's going on tour. His ticket sales have increased exponentially.
Yeah, and he went on tour last night, which is really the new moon, like smack on this Aries new moon, which he must have squares all over his chart right now. And exactly, this is the kind of energy that really tilts things for people.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's always going to be better. Like even for Will Smith, on some level, things are going to be improved for him in some way. Somehow there's a tilt here, and even for the Academy Awards and the systems and the celebrity world, it's going to become more real, and everyone's like real people. So
the other thing I was hearing about this, not to belabor this too long, but is the dynamic, we're talking about relationship dynamics too. And there's been a lot of talk I've heard about the relationship dynamic between Will Smith and his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, as far as how she is perceived as, and I have no personal knowledge of this, it's just using this as an interesting conversational point from an astrological perspective and relationships, that she's a very dominating energy within the relationship. And that at first, Will Smith was laughing and very easy and light about it until he saw she wasn't. And when he saw that, something shifted in him. So it struck me as potentially like there's a relationship dynamic at play that's being tweaked a bit, or that's being pressed on. It's almost like having a bruise and somebody pushing on it. It's
right. Well, there's that Chiron, right?
Yeah.
So there's some probably her disappointment in him, because maybe his relationship with her is somewhat codependent. And so she triggered his wounding, which was she was not happy with him. And so for laughing at it maybe. And so that triggered his wounding, and it triggered her wounding. Comedians, that's kind of what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to trigger us, because when we get triggered, it's out of our system. We're healed. It's actually how we heal, is to get triggered. There's probably some codependency going on there, or they have trigger power on each other, which isn't something to judge. I don't, we all know it was like awful behavior. It's upsetting.
Yeah. And it's not about judgment. It's more about observation, and then being able to recognize those same wounds within ourselves, or those same dynamics. We all have
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost like the universe had it play out on the Oscars in front of the whole world so we could see these energies and what they were looking like. Like, like you're going to get triggered. You might lash out. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And it might be it's going to be because of information, communication, words said, kazimi, that means it's confused. It's not
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah.
That trigger you into behaviors that triggered you deeply enough to know that there's something that has to shift about something in your life. So,
And the beauty is the rest of us don't have to have it play out on
yeah,
TV.
that's right. That's right.
It can be done in the privacy of our own space.
And the beauty of it is it happened there so we could all learn. So we could go, oh, I'm not going to punch anybody. I'm not going to do that. If I get really mad, I'm not going to lash. Of course I wouldn't punch anybody, but
Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to get mad about anything here. We're just going to write it out. Don't take it personally, because it might be just my wounding triggering, which, by the way, we need triggered because these new Aries beginning with everything, it's a fresh start. You want to get that wounding out of the way because it's stopping you from going a better, higher path.
Yeah.
So yeah, just watch yourselves, everybody, because you're going to get triggered here with these energies in some way. And, that's why astrology is so great, because you're aware of it in advance and you can see when it happens, you can go, okay, I'm being squared right now.
Yes. I feel this. All right.
Yeah, it's triggering me. And the wounding is insecurity. That Chiron is insecurity. It might be coming out of feeling a little insecure. I was doing a read for somebody yesterday and they started sort of not understanding it or something. And they were like going, I already know myself or something. I was doing the read and I said, that's fine. That's fine. And I almost got insecure. I could almost feel insecure, but then I just jumped in and went the angle that they were interested in, but I could feel the insecurity of it hitting.
Yeah.
So it's like, I course corrected really fast. So that's really what you want to do is this is what that word really, course correcting. So in a way, Will Smith was the fall guy for all of us.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah, to sort of course correct, because if you do lash out, the other person you're going to lose the deal. Whenever there's a square with Mars, whoever starts the war loses. Whoever starts the fight loses. So if you're triggered, don't start it.
Well, and I think you're right. I mean, because it appears right now, Will Smith is, if you want to put it in those terms, kind of the loser of this situation because of the backlash from people based on his actions. And Chris Rock is the victor, seeing that his ticket sales are going up and he has increased in popularity.
Yeah, because the thing that impressed everyone so much, everyone had empathy for Will, everyone felt sorry for him, but also he handled it so graciously with such, divinity in a way. He was an example. It was like we saw a negative example and we saw the ultimate positive response, which is, don't let it pull you off your course. Stay the game. Stay, the show must go on a mentality. So you had this tremendous respect for him because he was the example of how to respond,
Chris,
and that was a beautiful thing for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's move on to the fiery energy of Leo.
Yeah, Leo people, you guys have Aquarius over your 7th house of relationships. So you're going to be tilted. You might be in the wrong relationship. You might get tilted out of this relationship, or you might get wounded, because remember, we've got that Aries in your 9th house, belief systems and travel. You could have an opportunity that comes in that takes you to other cultures, traveling, higher philosophies as well. But you've got your square to Taurus, which is in your 10th house of career. It's possible a relationship changes because of an opportunity to travel in a career. That's one way. But that emancipates you, liberates you. You're going to get wounded. It's possible triggering wounding come up around your career. Aries in your 9th house, a new beliefs, new opportunity comes in, or new thoughts or new ideas that one enable you to travel, or you get a spiritual awakening that inspires you. And you know what? This is my son. He really is going through this, because I did a card read for him yesterday, and it said you're going to become more spiritually centered on your work, because Taurus is in your 10th house. So that's your true node, your true calling, your true purpose. So you're going to see the more soul. And you know, what's interesting is he's in fashion, but I see him going more into craftsman, because he's an amazing craftsman and he makes things. Wow. And it's very spiritual. See how we were talking about spiritualism? It's not necessarily like astrology or whatever. It can be, right, or you know, Buddhism, but it can be simply that you see the more spiritual, your true calling, the more spiritual reason for what you do, because being a craftsman is Joseph, you know, he was a craftsman. So, you know, there's something very spiritual about hand making things with your hands, and it's very grounding. And right now, with the world being the way it is, with lack, you know, with imports, it's bad for the environment anyway, to be all this stuff coming in. So maybe people are sort of waking up to making their own things, and he's amazing at it. My son makes shoes and stuff. So, and then we've got, wow, yeah, we've got Taurus for Leo in the 10th house of career. So this could liberate him in his career. It could be the way he tilts his career now. He may suddenly find that he can make enough money selling his handcrafted things, because they last longer. If you buy a bag from my son that he made, it will last you your whole life. He'll double stitch everything. I mean, it's a beautiful long-term thing, right? And I think we're waking up to like not buying cheap, fast-made stuff that exploits children or the environment. And instead, we can make things with scraps and things that are around, you know, that we don't need to import. I'm already seeing that actually with somebody else I do reads for, and she's a deck builder, her and her husband, and they're coming into finding new materials that are much cheaper to make decks, like what do you call it? Those stack racks, just reclaiming woods and things and treating them, because it's so expensive. And that's what happens is when these things happen, we're evolving and we're adapting. The nature is always evolving and adapting to what is available. So anyway, so for Leo, he's gonna have a shift in his belief system, and he's gonna liberate himself financially through work. And I'm going to Aquarius in the 7th house, and if possible, they get into a relationship with somebody that funds them, but it might square their relationship, trigger their relationship. They may get triggered because if they are a little bit codependent on the relationship may trigger them to be more independent, which then makes them feel more warrior-like and stepping forward in their life and saying, okay, I'm not going to try to just keep my life, maintain it as it is to keep the relationship going. I'm going to go forward and follow my dream and do my crazy vision, you know, because I believe now that spirit will support me, you know, that kind of a thing. Hope that's clear. And don't forget the Mercury Cazimi on all of this. So communication, communication that hurts your feelings, you know, that makes you say, that's it. I'm focusing on my career and I'm doing what really fills my cup. Now that's what the universe wanted you to do anyway.
Right. Yeah. So, just keep this, it's the constant alignment.
Yes, and remember, if anybody's feelings are hurt during this period and your insecurities kick in, it's so you know they're there and you can work on them. Yeah. All right, Virgo. You guys have Aquarius in your 6th house, Aries in your 8th house. Nice. Taurus in your 9th house. So Aries in your 8th house, you could again, that would be very sexual. Wow. They're probably going to get a very passionate sexual experience, most likely for Virgo. Yep. And could possibly involve travel, because you've got Taurus in the 9th house, which then really does put you someplace that you're supposed to be for the long haul. That is more grounding. That is your right career place. That does involve your true purpose, where you will find financial liberation through that move to a place. Or you end up in a passionate sexual relationship with someone, or you do get funding, or you find finances from an outside source too, that you can go for, you feel really motivated to go for, it will work out. That then enables you to travel or go to school. 9th houses go to school, take on a course or teach. And then with Aquarius in your 6th house, that's work. So it would change your day-to-day it'll square and shift the way you live on a day-to-day basis. Your whole life's going to change. In other words, your day-to-day way of living is going to change. So it's possible you get involved in a relationship that is your true relationship, by the way. With Pisces and Venus coming in April, people are going to be tilted to their true divine relationships. So if you're in the wrong relationship right now, there's a good chance those words that come through that hurt your feelings will break the relationship. There's a good chance if it's supposed to break.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, where are we? Virgo. So travel, but again, a lot of energy in your 8th house with the stellium in your 8th house. And then with the Aquarian stellium in your 6th house, it's very possible you either get a loan that enables you to change your career, your work. You could start a small business involved, because Gemini is over your 10th house. And also Virgo are good writers. So your career is going to change on a day-to-day basis around what happens on this new moon. Is opportunity. It could be money, career, a relationship, sexuality, that then involves possible travel, teaching, learning, but all of that.
In a nutshell. I mean, that's
mix that all up in a big soup, right? And the Mercury and Chiron Cazimi, your feelings might get hurt, or you communicate. There's communication coming in. So don't forget, it could be communication from somebody that you haven't heard from that hurt your feelings before. And then it triggers you when they communicate with you again. And so just the communication factor could trigger you, you know?
Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah.
It's amazing how powerful words are.
Yes, exactly. They are. That's why you want to watch out, because you could get really triggered in these energies and you could lash out like Will did.
Yeah. Okay, so Libra, talking about, that's some balance right there. Librans, with their energy.
Libra have Aries in their 7th house, so they're going to take new initiations in their relationships. They're going to feel very motivated and driven to take new actions in their relationships and opportunity. Now they have Taurus over their 8th house, so it's possible, again, it could turn into rather sexually charged energies. But with Taurus over your 8th house, this is going to be a healthy relationship. It's going to be the right relationship. You could shift out of a negative relationship into the right relationship. But also Taurus, it could increase your finances. Through this relationship, there will be a financial liberating, new stabilizing advancement in your finances from outside finances. Maybe you know how to get a loan, or you take action to refinance a piece of property so that you can work with somebody that you have a relationship with. Go into a relationship with somebody and share joint finances in order to expand your career, or your income, because you have Aquarius over your 5th house. This is a relationship thing for Libra, big time. Libra is a relationship house energy anyway. So it's very possible they shift relationships and become more grounded into the more grounded, long-term committed relationship here. And they take new inspired action. They actually take action towards it. They know who their true relationship is, and they take strong measures forward, action, initiation to solidify that, and then advance spiritually, but also very passionate sexually. And it's healthy. So this is all very healthy for Aries, I think. And then with that, if they're in another relationship, that Mercury, because they're going to have Mercury and Chiron in their 7th house, they could split up another relationship. It could end a relationship for you. But then a new one comes in, or you end that relationship because you know it's not the right one, but you know which one is. Is that clear?
Yeah. I was just thinking about when, in terms of this, the Aries energy, you were talking about action and initiation. So is it, but I'm just thinking of that more aggressive nature of it. Would you say it's more action towards that grounded relationship? That is it going to come off as fiery, or would you say the energy is more balanced?
Oh no, it could be very fiery. We've got a lot of planets in that fire energy. With that Mercury and Chiron, information could come in that triggers them into taking fiery action towards the right relationship, ending another one. Libra always like to be in relationships. Passionate fire action, yes. And then with that Taurus North Node in their 8th house, they're going to be motivated and driven to maybe advance financially, but also to be in the right sexually inspired relationship.
Yeah. Okay.
That is fiery, passionate energy too. Don't forget. That's all part of the picture too.
Yes.
Yeah, information could come into a Libra that ignites their passion about a person, that makes them realize this is my person.
Well, and I was thinking too, it might be like they feel like they might have to fight for that person.
It's possible.
You know?
Yes.
You know, they've got to like step into that warrior type energy and say, I want you. You're the one for me. And I'm going to, you know, keep showing up.
And if they're in the right relationship, they'll probably get an argument. Woundings are going to come up, but it's going to pivot some things about their relationship. It's either going to get more committed and they take it forward and they then have a breakthrough and they have a great time with that person. So there's, if you're in the right relationship, but it will definitely, because Aquarius is in your 5th house for Libra, Aquarius is in the 5th house. It's definitely most likely you're in the wrong relationship. But not every Libra is in a wrong relationship. So, but let's just say if you are, you're going to shift and step into the relationship that has longevity. Yeah. Because all of this is pivoting us to be in a situation, relationship, home, job, that sustains this Saturn, because it's involving Saturn, which is long-term. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go to more fire in Sag.
Ooh, Mars ruled Scorpio.
Oh, sorry, Scorpio.
Yeah,
how did I forget? I probably am trying to avoid Scorpio since it's my rising sign. Let's just skip it.
Yeah, let's see what's going on for you guys. 6th house, your day-to-day life will change. New motivating. Something's going to come in that's going to make you very busy, very motivated, very driven. That's changing your day-to-day life here. Taurus is in your 7th house, so it's going to involve, because your North Node is there, the North Node is transiting your 7th house, so it's going to involve a work-related project that makes you financially liberated involving a mate.
Aquarius, could it be a former mate?
I would say your new mate.
Okay.
Because you're going to co-mission with somebody here, Scorpio. Aquarius is in your 4th house, and you most likely will shift and move to a place of living that is more long-term, that will support this new endeavor, because it's a work thing, because it's in your 6th house. It could be a health thing. You change and shift your health and you do something. Some Scorpio may really shift and change their living environment for their health, or they shift and change and move because a relationship, Taurus in their 7th house, for the long haul, that's better for their health. But also it could be a work thing that you do with your relationship, that something changes your day-to-day life on a day-to-day routine is completely shifted.
Yeah.
And let me see so we've got Taurus in your 7th house, Aries in your 6th house, but again, you'll be very motivated, driven, and initiatory in a new way of working, possibly a new way of working that's more spiritually aligned, but also more healthy for you on a day-to-day level. And, you know, like not so crazy and busy and stressful, for instance, you know, even though that energy is really energetic, but it may be that you shift your day-to-day routine and working so that it's better for your health and better for, but it's also just a new opportunity coming in that does change your life, you know, on a day-to-day, but that involves financial liberation involving a mate. And
well, that doesn't sound too bad.
No, no. But now we're going to talk about so it's possible you get information coming in about your health that's not clear, that you don't understand, that triggers you, scares you, but try not to be scared or this, you know, there's confusion involved. Any information that comes in right now that's scary or confusing, try not to react at all because you didn't understand, because that's most likely the case, because it's Mercury is being purified by the sun right now. So, you know, try not to take things seriously. Like, you know, Will didn't need to take it that seriously. Thanks, Will, for being an example here. Anyways, so something in your relationship now is a new thing that you're going to be motivated to sort of lead the way to. Aries is leadership energies. So you're probably going to lead the way in your relationship towards this new financial endeavor, new work, or health routine. And then Aquarius in your 4th house, you're probably going to shift and move where you're living to where you are going to be long-term. if some Scorpio may adapt their living day to day and turn something into an Airbnb so that they can work with their partner on it. That's another option. Actually, I did have a client that I was talking to a couple days ago who are doing that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I can't remember if she was Scorpio, but it was certainly in her chart that she was going to work on a property with her divine mate and make it more of a spiritual retreat for people.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And so, and it's a project involving her mate, which will bring her financial liberation. I know people who have Airbnbs and that's all they do. They make their money that way. So involved with your relationship, you will be financially liberated. So yeah, there's nothing, the only thing that might happen with that Aries trigger there, with that Mercury trigger Chiron, you could, a illness could show up, or something really wrong about your day-to-day life that needs to change shows up, you know, that and don't forget Aries, Chiron and Aries, you become more of a warrior about it. You become more of a proactive person about it. All these energies about being proactive, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then we come to Sagittarii. I'm sun sign Saggy. So I have a lot of Sagittarius in my life too. Everybody I know close to me has a Sagittarius moon. My son, my ex-husband, my mother. It's just ridiculous. My best friend. It's just so funny.
That is fun.
Yeah. So you're going to have Aries over your 5th house. Relationship. Wow. Passionate, exciting relationships coming in, or creative projects. Yeah. Woohoo. And then Taurus in your 6th house, that does change your day-to-day activities. So that your day-to-day routine and activity becomes more routine in a new way that lasts a long time. That makes any sense. New health shifts health as well. You could, like, if you're single, now you're going to eat 3 meals a day. So you know, you're healthier. People don't eat, like, I don't eat that much because I eat more when I'm in a relationship because I'm making dinner for 2, you know.
Yeah. Totally.
And if you make a man for a meal for a man, it's like much more food. They like a lot of food, and then you find you eat with them, and then the next thing you know, you're eating more food. So
yes, so true.
Sagittarius could gain weight, which would be good. I could gain a little weight. And then we've got Aquarius in the 3rd house, communication, shifting, also short distance travel, new businesses, involving pivoting. You could travel. Oh, I kept pulling the travel card on me over and over. Maybe that's why.
Come to Florida.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. That would be great. I've never been to Florida. I want to check out Miami. You're near Miami, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
come on over and down.
All right. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'll look at my transits and see a good time to travel.
I know. How fun would it be if we did a live together?
That would be so fun.
In person. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
So, all right. So everyone stay tuned. We're going to manifest.
I'm going to look at my calendar after we get off here and find some time.
Yay.
I've got tons of frequent flyer miles to use. So, you know, I got to use them.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm coming. All right.
Yes, sure.
So where are we? Taurus, Aries, and Aquarius. So, or you could start a small business or get involved in writing projects, because Aries is in your 5th house of creative projects that involve the internet, social media, communication. And then we've got Taurus over your 6th house. Your day-to-day life will change. And again, Taurus over your 6th house with that North Node there. And I will contest to this. I finally quit sugar because I'm rising sign Cancer. I've been struggling with this for a long time. And I had the South Node in Saggy, because we've had the North Node in Gemini. So the South Node is in Sagittarius. So I forgot all that. We're letting go of whatever our South Node is, which is Scorpio. So Sagittarius is going to become more healthy, much healthier mindedness on a day-to-day, which I have because I've really succeeded in quitting sugar.
Good for you.
Yes, thanks. So it was this tough one. It's the hardest thing I think smoking and quitting sugar are the hardest things.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Sagittarius will probably quit something and become healthier. That's toxic. Everybody's quitting something and becoming less toxic because we've got the South Node in Scorpio. I forgot to add that in on it, but we can't add everything in, but just so you all know that. Okay. So we're seeing a shift in your day-to-day life that's going to be more long-term, that's healthier, that will last, and forms of communication, And also because of that Aries energy in your 5th house, you're going to get triggered. Putting it out there.
Yeah.
Your issues in relationships are going to come up because it's in a relationship house that's blocking your connection with this person. So don't take it.
Let me ask you a quick clarification question. You were talking about your South Node issues coming up.
Yes.
In Scorpio.
Yeah.
So if somebody doesn't, I mean, mine happens to be in Scorpio, so it's fine. But if somebody's isn't in Scorpio, for instance, would it shift, or is this like because it's in Scorpio now for the collective?
Everybody. So let's say you're a Scorpio, you're going to have the South Node, like right now, let's say you're 25 degrees Scorpio, the South Node right now is on your ascendant. So you're going to let go of a whole toxic way of living, a whole way of because Scorpio is toxicity. So there's going to be like ascendant would be like, let's say you had a relationship with your ex-husband still, and it was still toxic. You will completely release a toxic way of relating to that person completely. Like you won't, like I have Scorpio over my 5th house. So I'm going to release toxic relationships or friendships or the ways I mother that are toxic. And I can already feel like I had to throw away the little baby blanket. It was really hard for me to do.
Oh,
but it's almost keeping my child dynamic, keeping them as little babies.
yeah.
So it's like, it's almost toxic parenting to hold on to them as little babies. So you got to let them go. So it's like, and I'm letting go of like mothering my kids too much. Like I can already feel there's toxic ways that I was mothering. That's like, I'm letting go of, you know?
Yeah.
So, so you're going to release whatever house your South Node is in. You're going to release, let's say you have the Scorpio in your 6th house. You're going to release an addiction. You're going to quit a toxic addiction, toxic foods. You might stop eating fast foods. You might stop sugar. You might stop smoking. You might stop overworking. That can be a toxic thing for you. Basically anything that's not good for you, because we're going into a new health paradigm here with the North Node in Taurus. It's more healthy in all 360-degree meanings of the term healthy: relationship, communication, everything.
So I made a mistake. My moon is in Taurus, but my nodes are elsewhere. So my North Node is in Capricorn and my South Node is in Cancer. Okay. So it's, you know, the Cancer is more that family unit, domestic.
Your North Node is in Gemini?
North Node's in Capricorn.
Oh, North Node Capricorn. Sorry, North Node Capricorn. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's more like that independent nature, and you know, really stepping out in my individuality in a way.
Yes, and a really simple way to look at the nodes is one is spiritual and one is material. So like my North Node is in Cancer. So I have a spiritual North Node, so it's less material. You have a material North Node, so you're supposed to ground something, create structure, kind of like our relationship in a way. You create the structure, you put it out there, and then I'm like, I add in the fluff.
Yeah. you add in a lot more than fluff, but you're definitely bringing in that more spiritual knowledge.
Right.
To
the other half of it, which actually is a great balance, because that's what we're here to find, is the balance between the polarities between the planets. So that's why you and I do well, because you bring in that polarity and I bring in a little bit of we bring in these two polars and we find that middle ground.
Yes. Yay us.
Works. So
so Capricorn.
Aquarius over your 2nd house. Capricorn, so that's your finances. All Capricorn are adjusting the way they work. I know a Capricorn ascendant, and I'm seeing that very strongly. They are really shifting into more faith-based choices in career rather than security-based choices, career-minded, set, thrival, from survival to thrival based. And Capricorns have been beat up, no doubt about it, with Pluto thing, and Pluto still in their sign. So if Capricorns have been shifted to become less worky, hardy, statusy, imagey, to doing what fills your cup and being a hero in the arts, or integrating creative, like taking that Capricorn power and putting it something more than just creating stability. like using that stability for something more creative, something more ethereal, and mixing that and becoming more brave to step out and not be so Capricorn and not be just a workaholic, but to be in it for a greater purpose.
Yeah.
Because we've had all these big major conjunctions in Capricorn. So it's waking up the Capricorns very much. If you were Capricorn, you came for this. And so then you're going to have Aries in your third house of communication. So you might get an argument, you might get testy, you might lash out. That's kind of a tricky one. And
is it third or fourth? Is it fourth or is it third for Capricorn?
A Capricorn, sorry, fourth house.
Okay, sorry, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, just but here's the other thing you want to know in general. If in your chart, I have a very strong Capricorn, so I tend to, my Mars is in the sign of Capricorn, which is exalted. If you have a strong Mars in your chart, you're not going to lash out. You're not going to, a strong place, you have a weak placement in your Mars, you're going to lash out. You're going to lose control. So,
Mars in Leo next to the sun, how's that going to go?
That's not bad. Mars in Leo is okay. But Mars and Leo next to the sun is they're going to feel very fired up about a cause. Leo, Mars people have a passionate cause. They believe in saving the world and they want to speak about it. So they're fired up about what's right.
Okay. All right.
So for Capricorn, Aries is in your fourth house. You might move, you might take initiations to move and change your house situation. You may end up in a family. You may have something around your environment is going to shift. You're going to put a lot of motivation into it. You've got Taurus in your fifth house, which is a relationship energy. And then we've got Aquarius in your second house. So it's possible you get into a creative project relationship that lasts for a long time. I do know that Capricorn person is involved in more creative projects. You see, they've got the North Node in Taurus, which is in the fifth house, which is more creativity. So they're empowering themselves with more creative projects. And it's going to make them more money. In fact, they're actually the person I know is making money now in a more creative aspect of their career. And then Aquarius is going to make you money in the long haul, but it involves relationships with creative projects. It could be romantic, but you may move because of this. You may take initiations to move, or you may go stay up there for a while and travel. But you could redo your house. Aries is the building energy. You might start a building project at home that is a creative project that liberates you financially. Maybe it creates another room that you rent out for Airbnb, or it brings in a roommate or another person in your life, family that you work together with on a creative project at your home. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, Taurus, Aries in the Aries in the fourth house, Taurus in the fifth, and Aquarius in the second. And you've had Saturn in your second house for a while, which means it repressed one way of earning money so that you can open up to the North Node way, which is very karmic, so that you would reach for more creative things. You would just sort of fail and just say, oh, well, screw it. I'm going to take on these. And they're lesser paying jobs, but they're more creative, and you take it because you're desperate, because Saturn has been repressing the old way that you've been making money. So the only avenues that open up to you have been creative. So now you're forced to take these creative projects, which is your destiny to do anyway.
Yeah. And would you say, so the other couple things were coming to mind when we're talking about Capricorn is, and I'm again thinking of someone specific around this, is that, I have a friend who, with her work, it's been very structured, very, very Saturnian and Capricorn.
Yep.
Capricornian in nature.
They just look down and work. They don't look up sometimes. They don't stop to make sure they're going the right way. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, and it's also like you feel like you have to follow the old rules in the old playbook. Right. Versus new. Right. And she was put in a situation where she was given pretty much an opportunity to step into the new on a silver platter, but was questioning it, wasn't sure about it. And we had she wanted me to take a look at her charts and see what was going on. And I said, I feel like we just need to have a conversation. I don't think we need to look at anything, because this seems to be an opportunity for you. So she followed the very uncomfortable new path of doing it differently, and was met with more respect, more enthusiasm, and the relief on her part
She's
that
probably
she,
a lot happier, like feels
yes,
like, yes,
yeah,
yes.
so huge. And then, you know, my guy too, I mean, always, you know, with him, with this very work hard, very
Nose to the grindstone.
yes, you know, get this done. I actually did a couple of went on a couple of gigs with him this weekend, and I have had a whole new respect for the physical toll that it takes. I mean, I've done a number of them with him, but this was, I don't know, I was more, I guess, more involved this time, and it's a lot, you know, mentally, physically, hyping people up, keeping people on track, moving people along, making sure everything is just so. And you know, the aspect of this I'm curious about when it comes to what you're sharing is maybe finding a way to make that not necessarily easier, but more streamlined or something, so it's not quite so so much. I don't know if I'm asking that question properly. Do you know what,
in other words, they work too hard.
Work really hard, yeah.
So yeah, they're not supposed to work so hard. They're supposed to work inspired. That's the shift. They're going to work inspired, because that ability that Capricorn have to work really hard and put the nose to the grindstone is like amazing when they put it with a creative force, when they match it with creativity, because that's what that energy wasn't supposed to just be for foundation for no reason. It was like foundation for something creative and expansive, you know, beyond the ability to create a foundation, if that makes sense.
So it's almost like take the energy and the creativity, and then that will align you and you'll be successful in what you're doing. Yeah,
because if the Capricorn already have an innate ability to create hard work and structure and everyday discipline. Yeah. So imagine you put that with something that needs that, which is creative. Creative energy with that is very, very strong. Very, like, it works. It happens.
Well, and maybe it really just affected me the way it did, because I'm not Capricorn.
Yeah.
And I just was like, geez, I'm tired. Can we go back and take a nap now?
Yeah. Right. Funny. So yeah, so Capricorns are going to become very motivated, inspired to work possibly at home in some way on a project that with a creative project that makes them really good money in the long haul. But it's also a creative project that is their true destiny, because it's the nodes. The nodes are right there. Yeah. So they're going to tilt to something that is their true destiny, their true calling.
Nice.
Creative though. And now Aquarius. So you guys have Saturn in your first house. So you would have been repressed a little bit, held back in really being who you are, not really knowing who you are, but now you're going to see who you really are more. You're going to tilt more towards, now you're going to have Aries in the third house. So you've got Taurus in your fourth house. It's funny because I know Aquarius who are doing a lot of making good money in Airbnb with the North Node in their fourth house. Wow, they've got Aquarius in their first house, all of this third and fourth houses. So communication, short distance travel, communication, much more interest, possibly in writing, learning things, information, because their Aquarius is on their first house, changing who they are. So adapting to, gosh, I just know this Aquarian who does a lot of short distance travel because she does Airbnb houses. So it's almost like this is already happening in her life. But I would say that it's possible they become very, very harding. They become very motivated and driven and inspired around this process, and knowing that somehow it's who they are, and they may initiate some kind of a social media project that communicates, that shows their creative home projects. They may start to become more confident about coming out, or because this is a career shift, they may see some kind of a shift in their career around all of this, in the sense that they become more out in the world, more social media with it, more maybe they meet new friends, new groups through that initiates them to really take to do more of that. Maybe they buy a new property and do it again, and then they put it all on social media so that they advertise it in their, they love to show it as they do it, you know, kind of a thing, inspiring other people. But I mean, Aries in their third house, they're going to be, but also they've got communication things, so they could get in arguments with properties, with some of their, you know, people that they're working with, communication problems, that then they wake up to communicating in a different way. Maybe because their finances or their life with the fourth house is becoming really grounded and really stable, they travel more and express who they are, communicate. Maybe they start writing projects. This is kind of a hard one, because I mean their whole career is going to change by the end of this Saturn in their first house. They're going to be more on a more different path involving writing and communication. Possibly they may initiate a writing project that they do from home. That's another option. They express who they truly are. They come out and really become more out in the world with who they truly are, expressing who they are.
So
Leo in the seventh house. Yeah, go ahead. Aquarius.
I was just thinking about this again in terms of someone that I know, and you know where he literally just moved. So that's that, you know, it's the fourth house, but a little bit ahead of the time, but still it's kind of a flowing energy.
And don't forget that the nodes went into their fourth house in January, and the person I know did buy a property at that point, so to do Airbnb, and they're fixing it up. So they could be very, very busy. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, you're just processing in your head. So, you know, there's that movement from a home energy, but then it's also, if you think about it, it's their first house of self, and then the third house communication, and sharing more of themselves through their communication. And that doesn't necessarily always have to be with words. It could be pictures. Like I know the person I'm thinking about, you know, he's sharing his talents and he's sharing his passions, which is that Aries sort of energy. You're passionate, focused on things on social media, which is potentially opening up new avenues for him.
Yeah.
Potentially, you know, sharing something different, which could be a career shift at some point.
Yeah, because look, they have Scorpio over their 10th house, so they're going to let go of a career. And then they're going to take on a new, more honest, soulful, connected career. And they have Capricorn in their 12th house, Pluto. So they're going through big spiritual karmic shifts there, you know. So yeah, that's a slightly tricky one. But with Aries and that Venus and that Mercury Cazimi in their third house, they could get into conflicted situations over confusion of communication, because the third house is all about communication.
Yeah.
But then they reinitiate, maybe there was confusion over a writing project, let's say, which they then have clarity and they reinitiate that project, because they do believe that it is who they truly are and what they're supposed to do. So that.
I think that's pretty good. I mean, I think that, yes. Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up with Pisces.
Yeah, because I have a read at 1:30, so perfect timing.
Okay.
Pisces is well, they're going to have amazing. We're going to try and get to this so we can talk a little bit about what's happening for Pisces here, but in the energy of Pisces in a couple of weeks. But with Aries in their second house, new way of making money. They're going to be very motivated. I have a Pisces moon. I'm going to be really excited about this.
Yay!
I have this all happening in my 10th house for Cancer. So a new way of earning money that's motivating, exciting. You're driven. You feel it. You clarity. You go for it. Taurus in your third house, where the nodes are. Writing, short distance travel, you could start a new business because of it that lasts a long time. I am actually paying, I shifted my permit, my work permit, to the local town that I'm in, and I'm signing that today, which is kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, so it's like, and it's going to probably emailing, internet stuff, third house for Aquarius too, by the way, but communications, short distance travel, or anyway, long-term Taurus, financial liberating. So it's like I just started a little small business here because I pulled my business license for the location that I'm at, which is probably going to last me. I'm most likely going to end up here for a while. So yeah, some kind of a small business involved, or communication, writing involving that makes you more money. And then let's go to Aquarius in your 12th house. Countryside, rural, institutions. Like some Pisces might get a job in an institution that is a contracted, because Aquarius is Saturn, contracts as well. 7th house is contracts too, but that lasts a long time. That becomes a financial means of income that is stable and steady. That makes you busy. North Node in the 3rd house does make you busy. But Taurus in a way that is grounded and healthier for the long haul. And you're going to get, this is the new moon that initiates this new thing. Like for me, it's initiating this new thing by signing that, by paying for that business license for here. So it's like, it's a new initiation, and it's in my 10th house. So for Pisces, it's like, it's financial new beginnings that are very motivated, exciting, and inspiring, and you really love it. It's a way that really works for you, that charges you up, you know. So opportunities coming in for work and career that that might open up short distance travel, or like, for instance, let's say you're Pisces and you get a contract, like my son, he's Pisces ascendant, he's a musician, he could get a contract. That means he has to drive somewhere. He could get a residency, but he has to drive there, and it's short distance travel. And it's like, now it's going to be his new routine. He may end up moving because he's Sagittarius to be closer to that opportunity. So all of that could happen. So basically new motivations in a way of making money that last the long haul, that really that tilt you in your true direction for your career. And your North Node. It could be a small business, like you say, that is really the right thing for you to do. So that's the 12 signs.
Yeah. Wow. Lots.
Yes.
Lots going on.
Yeah.
Bravo, Madelaine, for that beautiful roundup. There was a lot of
it was. Because it's a lot of planets all souped up on top of each other, you know.
Yeah. So if we have a couple minutes left, do you want to touch in a little bit on that Jupiter?
Yeah, I'm going to share the screen so we can see this, so that you guys can see what I'm talking about, because, you know, April's amazing with the energies here. So here we are today. So I'm going to go to the April 12th, which is when we have Jupiter. So when we're looking at mid-April, we're looking at some amazing astrology to the end of the month, which is basically, we've got Jupiter in its own sign of Pisces with Neptune in its ruling sign too. So Jupiter and Pisces basically conjoining. So Neptune in Pisces at 23 degrees, Jupiter in Pisces at 23 degrees is happening. Isn't that interesting? April 11th. It's all about the 11 at 11:11 a.m. 56.
Wow.
I know, it's wild.
Well, but that's for you. That's for you.
No, this is everybody.
Well, but it won't be 11:11 for me.
I see time wise. No.
Yeah.
But we are looking at April 11th. It could be the 12th for you. But by the way, it's a slow moving planet. So it's around the 11th. Let's put it that way. These are a long transit, because Jupiter and Neptune are slower. Jupiter moves 12. I think Jupiter moves about 3 or 4, takes 1 degree. It takes 3 or 4 days to travel at 1 degree.
Okay.
And Neptune is 156 years. So we have this conjunction happening. And it's 150-year sort of cycle. So we're going to see this last time this happened was when the Impressionist paintings started, Impressionism. It's before the Civil War happened, which was rough. But people were becoming higher consciousness, which is what caused the Civil War, because, you know, it was to stop slavery, I guess. But so there was a higher consciousness. We were evolving consciously. And so we're really looking at a shift in our consciousness to a much more spiritual approach. Even if you look at the backlash from the Will Smith thing, majority of people see and preferred a higher consciousness response to that. So it's almost like everybody was waking up to becoming aware of a higher consciousness way of responding than with violence. So it's like things are going to keep happening here in the next month that wake us up to the need for more spiritual, higher consciousness responses. More spiritual, we're going to see the arts becoming more important because Neptune is an artistic energy. So people are going to see more ethereal arts that are spiritually motivated, that are spiritually in alignment with a higher consciousness. We're going to use arts to raise consciousness because Neptune is the opposite of the grid, opposite of the matrix. Neptune is the 12th house, which is spiritual, the most ethereal of all the energies, foggy, Neptunian. That's why the Impressionist paintings, Claude Monet was criticized for his paintings being an impression, not real. It's Neptune. It was Neptune. Yeah. And that was when Neptune went into Pisces. It had only just been discovered at that point anyway. And Neptune rules the arts. It's a higher octane of Venus. So we're going to see a spiritual, artistic, creative revolution, in my opinion. You're going to see arts being the new religion in a way, because arts are galvanizing. Arts do not separate people when it's higher consciousness art. And higher consciousness music, and higher consciousness that brings us together and brings peace and communicates galvanizing messages that bring people together. Music brings people together. Music heals people. So you're going to, and music is very Neptunian. It's the unseen force. Music is an unseen force, really. It's an energy we don't see, but we feel it. So that's what, this is a big, powerful awakening. You know, I think even like, for instance, the Will Smith thing, I think brought a lot of people to awakening that we don't just want movie stars that are cool and rich and wow, they're amazing. We want them to be, we're going to start looking up to people that are consciously evolved, that are spiritually evolved, that hold higher consciousness, that promote higher consciousness, that express, because we're really evolving as a society, as a collective, with that Neptunian transit to a more spiritually evolved higher consciousness period, to actually an awareness to the presence of the higher dimensions and working with the higher dimensions.
Well, the other,
yeah.
Well, I was just going to mention too,
yeah,
with Neptune, it's also related to film.
Oh,
not just you know, art.
You could see a revolution in the film world too, more galvanizing, because the film world, the arts, the film world has been kind of dark and scary, and you know, I don't watch a lot of the movies because they're sort of disturbing, you know. So we might see a shift into more spiritually a movement in the film world that is more ethereal, celebrating.
I feel like that's happening now on some level. You know, it's shifting a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be very fantastic. And the next time we do this, because we're going to have a full moon in Libra coming up in the 25th, I think. When is the full moon in Libra? Oh, we've got an eclipse at the end of the year, at the end of the month. We may need to come on here 3 times this month. Because we've got the 16th is the full moon Libra.
Yes.
And we've got this, and here's the other thing, we have this eclipse in Taurus at the end of the month, and that's really impacting the nodes. That's really going to shift people even more onto their north nodes. And so yeah, we're going to have a lot of to talk about. So maybe we want to do one more of these, because this end of July or end of April, which is when that eclipse is happening, we have Venus, Neptune, and Jupiter all together.
So maybe we'll do a live in the evening.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it live in the evening. That's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that eclipse energy. We'll keep our full moon.
Our regular full moon time, yes.
Yeah, but maybe one in the evening. So yeah, everybody stay tuned for that. Madelaine and I will be sharing that information.
In a couple of weeks, and then maybe at the end of the month around that eclipse, we'll do another one and we'll talk about this amazing astrology. And plus there'll be a lot more other stuff going on to talk about, because there'll be stuff to talk about, I'm sure.
Well, and also what's interesting this month is we're going, well, depending on where you live, like for me, we actually have, you know, a blue moon at the end of the month, because we've got on April 30th, there's another new moon.
That's the eclipse. That is the
eclipse.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got a lot happening in April.
This month, we might need to do one more of these, that's for sure.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll keep everyone updated, but all right, Madelaine, I'm going to let you roll so you can get to your read. Yes. Hugs to you.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for being here with us, and we'll see you 2 weeks.
Yep. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye. Bye.